Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the AXA Melwood Training Centre. Fantastic to be here today for Matt Beard's pre-Arsenal press conference, and great to have so many of you joining us in person as well as on Zoom. And we'll kick off with Sky Sports.
Matt, good afternoon. You've had a full pre-season. How's it gone? You're happy with it? And how have your new players settled in here?
Really pleased with pre-season. New players have settled in really well. Obviously a bit of a blow with Sophie on Tuesday for Norway. But no, we wanted to challenge ourselves this pre-season. I think last year it was quite comfortable for us. This year we've played Atletico Madrid, PSG, obviously City United. We wanted to really put ourselves in a position where we could learn a lot, and I felt in most of them performances we did well. We created chances. But when you're playing against top teams like that, it also gives you the opportunity to learn with and without the ball. And I think for me, that's been the biggest plus for me from the pre-season. And then obviously we finished strongly with a good performance and win against Leicester. So I feel we're prepared. We've worked really hard. We've obviously been at the men's training ground and now at Melwood. So we've had a lot going on in the last few months, but you know, we're looking forward to getting the season started.
7th place finish last season, which is great, back in the top flight. How difficult is it going to be for you to improve, bearing in mind the strength now of this WSL?
I feel we've recruited well enough for us to improve on last year's position. I think if I look at, we finished probably where we should have finished statistically. I think our biggest Achilles heel was scoring the goals, and you know, when we looked at the process for the recruitment, we brought in Mia Enderby, who's a very talented young player that scored goals at the level below. Sophie coming in from Roma was a big signing for us. Her goal scoring record speaks for itself. And I guess our bravery speaks for itself on Tuesday as well. So, but no, that was our issue last year. I think we was ranked 8th in creating chances, but 11th in converting them. But we're looking forward to the challenge ahead. Everyone's obviously strengthened. I think if you just look at the quality of each squad now, each team in the division, it's just going to make it harder and harder every year.
It's some start, isn't it, at the Emirates? I think touching 50,000 tickets haven't been sold for this game, which is quite incredible, but it gives inspiration, doesn't it? It's enough to inspire anybody playing in a stadium like that. Yeah,
no, of course it does. I think Arsenal, to their credit, play a lot of games at the Emirates. That's something that they're used to, and they do sell a lot of tickets whenever they play there. So it'd be something they're used to. We're looking forward to it. Obviously, it's a fantastic stadium, fantastic surface. We've played there before many years ago and got a good positive result there then. So, but I think it's the norm in the Women's Super League now. A lot of teams playing in the main stadiums and in front of big crowds. So I just think that's going to become the norm for us now. Thank you.
Emma, BBC.
Yeah, hi Matt, nice to see you again.
You're right.
Season. Yeah, you touched on kind of Sophie's injury there. Can you give us an update on where she's at and the other players? Obviously, there's quite a few injured at the back of the last season and now it's progression, etc.
Yeah, well, Sophie, I don't have an update just yet. She's seeing a specialist on tomorrow, but she got the all clear to fly back on Wednesday of this week. So I'll know more on Sophie tomorrow, whether she can play with a mask going forward. Everyone else, injury-wise, obviously we've got Zara and Faye with the ACLs. They'll be out for the full season. Mel Lawley's flown through her rehab, and she's back in team training now. So I would have thought she'd be a couple of weeks away from team selection. I think maybe next week, maybe too soon for her, but we'll see how she gets on. But she's done really well. Leanne Kiernan, she is now pain-free, which is great. And we're now she's back on the pitch running. Next stage will be change direction. As long as she's comfortable with that, then we should start to see her integrated back into team training in the coming weeks. And then similar with Shanice van der Sanden. So they're both not a million miles away, but we're probably looking at another maybe 3-4 weeks with them. And then Fahi was 6 to 8 weeks, and she's a couple of weeks into the rehab now.
Yeah, thanks for that. And just a question on the international scheduling really, because I've spoken to quite a few managers about it. Everyone seems to have said it's, in short, not ideal. What are your thoughts on having the international break sort of a week before the season starts? Seems a bit mad.
So the thing with the international scheduling is you know in advance anyway. So we had planned for that as a club, coming in a little bit earlier, knowing we was going to lose the players for 10 days. I think really, I look at the World Cup. It took so long for the World Cup to start post, the season finishing. But it is what it is. I mean, it's not ideal losing your players. And if you look at the top teams that have had international players at the World Cup, they probably had them for maybe 2 weeks, and they've lost them again to the international teams. I don't know. Maybe the planning around major tournaments needs to be maybe looked at. I don't know, but your international schedules are given to you well in advance. You know when they are.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned there about other teams. Caroline Weir, former Liverpool player, picked up an ACL. Emma Watson at Manchester United, another ACL. They just keep ticking up really now. In terms of Liverpool as a football club, are you doing anything in the kind of the medical science department to have a look at how you can reduce the risk of ACLs? Have you found that anything that can help you?
I mean, basically, it comes down to the loading of the player, making sure the player is honest with how they're feeling, especially if they're fatigued or tired, or they've got any little niggles. It's an ongoing process. Look, we screen the players every day here. Obviously, you've got their prehab programs, they've got their strength programs. I just think the loading. I think if maybe the two Scotland issues are probably due to loading, because I think they trained every day. So, well, that's what I've been told. But you are then putting players at risk. I think we spoke about the scheduling internationally earlier. I think I see Millie Bright talking about the scheduling. Look at the players that got ACLs last year that played in the Euros and then in the WSL. So I don't know. You've got to know your players. You've got to trust your players, and I think you have to load them accordingly. And I guess, I mean, you're not going to be able to prevent them. I think if I look at the two that we've had this pre-season, Zara got her studs caught in a dry surface at St Andrews, and her weight went forward and the knee went, and Faye Kirby's was an impact injury. So sometimes these injuries just happen.
Thanks, Matt. That's what you listen.
Julia, really amazing side.
Hi, Matt. At the end of last season, did you all sit down, or have you done it since you've come back to training, and discuss how last season went and what you learned as a group together and what you can take into this WSL season?
Yeah, we always do sort of end of season reports, mid-season reports. We looked at numerous things really, from statistical data to visual data, to try and prepare the team and move the team on this year. So we've been through a lot, especially I think the biggest change this year, or from last season to the season before, was the open play goals in comparison to the year before. So we tried to work the team in the sense of, statistically, a lot of goals come from crosses, from transition, but as I say, there was a lot more in open play last year than there was the year before.
You mentioned before the pre-season you picked some tough opponents. Was that important? Is that something you learned from last season? Because not every game's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, no, of course it is. I think for us, we have ambitions to try and break into that top 5. I think long term we want to break into that top 3. That's where we want to be. We want to improve on last season's position. We feel we've addressed a lot of issues squad-wise in the January window last year, and obviously this summer window. But as I say, the ambition is for us to continue to progress. It is a tough league. Every team's got stronger, which in turn makes it exciting for the neutral, I guess.
We're in Melwood today. When football is a game with such fine margins, is having something like this for yourself, as a team, and all the stuff that comes with it, and history, is that giving everyone an extra boost?
I think so. I think when we found out that Melwood was going to be our home, I think if you look at the history here and what it means to the football club, and myself, my staff, my players have an opportunity to create our own history here. And for us, that just gives us that motivation, because the people that have been through these doors, trained on them pitches, just inspires us to obviously to try and emulate what they did in the past.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Beth, Liverpool Echo.
Hi Matt, obviously last week you signed a new contract at the club. We've seen over the summer as well a couple of players like Kerry Holland signing new deals. Obviously, as Julie said, they're moving into Melwood. Does it feel like now all the foundations are in place to have a real sort of long-term strategy to really progress in the years to come?
Yeah, for sure. I think Melwood's game changing. What we have here means the players are completely prepared for every training session, every game. I think for me it's about stability and time, and I feel if you look now in the modern game, a lot of managers and coaches don't get time, and I've been very lucky here at Liverpool that we're realistic with our targets, we're ambitious, but we know there's a process in place, so things just don't happen overnight. It's just not possible. And I think the biggest thing for me was to make sure that we had an elite training facility for myself, for the staff, for the team, and we have that now. And now it's about really progressing and moving the team on. And then, as I say, we have a great platform here for us to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously last season you were so strong at home, and Hampton Park became a bit of a fortress toward the end of the season. Obviously it was on the road where there were a couple of struggles, and not to be too negative, but on the road last season. Obviously it'd be a big test on Sunday, but it'd be a good way to break that duck at the Emirates, wouldn't it?
Oh, what a way it would be, hey? Yeah, no, listen, I think we was unlucky a few times last year on the road, but look, by the by, we didn't win a game, but we picked points up on the road, which was important. It's, as I say before, it's a tough league. When you go away from home, it's tough. Playing at the Emirates is a different pressure. Playing in front of 50,000 is a completely different pressure to what it would be maybe at Boreham Wood, but that's the same for both teams. But no, look, we're aware of that. As I say, our ambition this year is to improve on last year's finish, and if we're going to do that, we need to win games away from home.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Good luck this Sunday.
Sam at the back.
Just looking ahead to the Emirates at Anfield in a few weeks, do you change approach at all to how you approach those games, or is it completely the same in the week leading up to them?
You don't change your approach, because it is just a game of football. I think when we went to Anfield last year, we wanted to take the players obviously to the stadium, to the dressing room, just so they could get familiar with where they're going when they get to the ground, walking out onto the pitch, etc. But I mean, every time you go to a men's game at Anfield and You Never Walk Alone comes on, you can't prepare for that when you're standing there in front of 25,000, 30,000 people as we was last year. You can't prepare for that. But we've obviously got that experience under our belt now from last year. And as I say, we played at Villa Park last year, at Anfield, at Goodison Park. So there's numerous stadiums that we played in last year in front of a lot of people. So as I said before, I think that's now becoming a little bit of the norm in the WSL. And I think the players are getting used to it now.